How to become a freelancer to exit a toxic job. This is for Black women in toxic jobs. I wanted to have this conversation with you because I get responses or questions all the time about how can I leave this toxic job? I need to be able to pay my bills. I need to replace my income. And so I wanted to talk to you about one of the options for you in terms of replacing your income, which is to become a freelancer. So at the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, that is one of the topics that we talked about was how to replace your income with freelance work, right? Or creating your own business. So if you haven't already gotten the replay of the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women, please get that today. So I will put that information. It's going to go around the screen, across the screen, and it will be in the description section of this video. And I'm excited that today I have my co-host of the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women with me, Marissa Price. And if you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. And again, the co-host of the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women. So Marissa, can you introduce yourself and we'll get right to the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, I'm Marissa Price. I am a social worker, healer, business educator, formerly in the economic development field. So I have a lot of experience with building businesses, getting funding for businesses. And so I just took my skill set in a toxic job and transitioned that to become a freelancer, which is what I do now with my business, Free Black Women Virtual Solutions.
Mhm. And I know we both talk a lot about leaving toxic jobs and creating something different. And we also know as mental health professionals that a big part of this is our mindset. So, can you talk a little bit about what are some of the mindset issues or hurdles that as Black women we need to address or that we're
Mhm.
confronted with in the thought of becoming a freelancer?
I feel like a lot of us forget that we even have skills, right? Being in toxic jobs, it can really impact us so deeply. It can be so
Hmm.
traumatizing that we forget everything that we've done, all
Hmm.
the experiences that we've had, like the jobs that we've held that we can utilize to start our business. So really tapping into self-trust and you're like building, you have to rebuild your self-esteem
Hmm.
almost
Oh,
to
yeah.
become an entrepreneur.
Mhm,
Yeah, because
mhm.
being an entrepreneur requires you to constantly tell people what you're doing, right? Kind of
Yes.
own your skill set, market yourself, which is always the hardest aspect for me.
Mhm, mhm,
But it really does require that. So it's tapping back into these inherent gifts that you have, which
mhm.
again, in toxic jobs, we can lose sight of that
Yeah.
so often, being in these really traumatic, like brain fogs almost.
Mhm, mhm.
So tapping into that, realizing that you're in control now, that has been a big thing for me. So you have the power to attract your clients, right? Work on what you want to work on,
Mhm,
work where you want to work. If you want to be a digital nomad, which I am currently in Guadalajara, Mexico. So the power is in your hands. And I really feel like
mhm,
that's a shift from what a lot of us have been socialized to feel and think, right?
mhm.
As workers
Yeah.
in kind of like corporate style jobs, or not even corporate, but just like more traditional jobs. So it's really like a
Mhm.
whole mindset shift that you have to take to realize that you're in control now. You have the power.
Yeah, yeah. So, can we talk a little bit about the trauma of being in a toxic job? Because we're both toxic job survivors, and it can really, not only you fighting against so much oppression, but you're also fighting starting to internalize some of these things that people are saying about you, even
Yes.
though you know that you're overqualified because you couldn't have got the job if you weren't, but then you start questioning yourself. So, what
Mhm.
advice can you give to Black women who may be kind of beat down because of a toxic job? Their self esteem might be kind of shaky in terms of
Right.
developing that confidence and knowing that they have the skills and talents. What words of wisdom can you offer?
I think for me, therapy was pivotal in that. So I
Hmm.
started therapy while I was still in a toxic job using what is it called? It escapes me now. The free program, EAP,
Oh,
Employee
yes.
Assistance Program,
Mhm,
through my employer, which provided me, I think, with 8 free sessions. So I was able to start therapy with that.
mhm.
And through her kind of reflecting back to me that it wasn't me, right?
Yeah.
In the job that I was in, with me sharing my experiences with her, because I came into therapy thinking that it was me, which had a
Mm,
huge impact on me, even being able to recognize that I had skills anymore, because I thought
yeah.
I didn't have skills. because of the environment that I was in.
Isn't that something?
So that was, yeah,
Mhm. It's like,
yeah,
it's really like, I'm not gonna curse, but it's like a mind F, right?
it is.
That on some level,
It is.
that you have these skills and talents, but then you forget it, and then you think there's something wrong with you because you're like, "Well, why would they be treating me this way?" But then when you're able to talk to
Hmm.
somebody else, like a therapist and reality test, you're able to say, "Wait
Yeah.
a minute, it's not me, it's those people, it's the
Hmm.
system," right? And
It's
you're able to
them.
take that power back. So, in addition to therapy, and can you just mention a little bit more about EAP? Because I know somebody's going to be watching this and they're going to be wondering, number one, what is EAP? And number two, is it confidential? I get that question all the time. It's my job going to find out that I'm seeing a therapist and they're going to find out what we're talking about.
Yeah, so EAP is the Employee Assistance Program, and I would encourage you to look in your employee handbook to see if your employer offers this. But this is a benefit where you can get free therapy sessions, right? Because we know that therapy can be expensive depending on where you are, the state that you're in. So that was pivotal in me being able to start therapy.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would encourage you, yeah, to look into your employee handbook to see if you can access these benefits. And the confidentiality piece, I believe that it's confidential. I can't say like 100% because I'm not in that area, but I believe it
Mhm.
is. I believe they're not able to share information with the employer.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
heard as well. But I would just say to anyone, if
Okay.
you're interested in investigating EAP, please do your own research as well, just to confirm that. But my understanding is that it's a free service for employees, and your employer does not know. I think they get like aggregate information. They don't know like specifically who's accessing the information, but just check to confirm, right? So,
Yeah.
Marissa, when you think about becoming a freelancer, and I think a lot of the struggle for us as Black women is that we've been taught so many things as Black women about we work hard, we get these so-called good jobs, all these other things. Something else that we've been told as Black women is that we give and give and give and give, right? So if somebody
Hmm.
needs help, we give, right? And that might even mean our labor. So you might be good at something, and somebody be like, "Oh, can you help me out?" And then we start giving away our gifts for free. Can you talk
Hmm.
about, or what advice would you give to Black women? I know one of my coaches, Rachel Rogers, is like, "Stop giving your goodies away for free," right? So, what would you say to Black women who may have skills and talents, but they keep giving their services or their products away for free?
I would say first to make a list of those because a lot of the things we do for free, we don't even realize they're skills that are marketable. And they are. So keep a list,
Mhm.
like as people ask you to do things for free, keep a list of these things because these are your skills that you can use
Yeah.
to start your business. But yeah, keep a list of skills. I'm sorry, I lost the last part of the question.
Yeah, it's just that as Black women, it's hard for us because we've been
Yeah,
told, conditioned that we give, give,
it
give, give,
is.
right? Don't be selfish. And people can see these things that we have, these talents, and they like keep asking. And we're like, "Oh, okay, it's not a big deal. It has to take up too much time, but we could be
Yes.
making money from that."
Mhm. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
would say, yeah, even like setting up a Calendly link. I have a video about that on my channel. To start, if you want to do something like consulting, right? If people are asking you for advice on something, that could
Mhm.
be an easy pathway into starting a consulting business. Setting
True.
up a Calendly link takes like maybe 10 to 15 minutes, right? And people, you can take payments directly through there if you set it up through Stripe, and there's
Mhm.
your consulting business. Like it can
Yes.
be that easy. If people are
Mhm.
already asking you for advice, for tips, for tools on things that you do already in your current job, if it might be toxic, that is an easy way to pivot into being a freelancer, right?
True.
Just setting up a consulting business using Calendly.
True, true. So
Yeah.
Calendly and also like creating your own landing page. People have asked me,
Yeah.
well, I don't have enough money because I need to get a website. And I know we talked about this during the Job
Mhm.
Liberation Virtual Summit during our section about
Yes.
creating your own business. Can you talk about Black women who are like, well, I want to be a freelancer, but I don't have the money. I need to get a website. I need to get cards. I need to do all these things. What
Yeah.
would you say to her?
Yeah, you don't really need any of those things, right? I feel like the world of online business has opened up so many new
True.
doors and possibilities that didn't exist before. So you can literally start with $0. There are plans like Calendly has a free plan. If you don't want to invoice through Calendly, right, and do invoicing outside of it, if you don't want to take payments directly through there, that's the paid plan. But you can start on the free plans on so many digital
Mhm.
tools and just work your way up to the paid plan as you get clients, as you bring in revenue, right? So it can be really that easy. You don't need a website. You don't
That's
need business
important.
cards. You can create a
Mhm.
landing page for free
Mhm.
using ConvertKit. That's where I create a lot of the
Mhm.
landing pages. Yeah, for myself and for Lifting as We Climb Consulting. But it can be easy, right? You need a way to communicate with your clients. So that can be Gmail, which is a free tool, a way to collect
Mhm.
payments. That can be Stripe or PayPal. And that's really the basic things that you need to start, especially
Yeah,
if you already have people who are asking you for things. That's your client list, right?
exactly,
So a lot of the
right?
things we may be overlooking that we already have. Yeah.
Mhm. Right. So that was excellent. Take a list or an inventory of what have people been asking of you? What do you do well?
Right.
Also think about if you're able to do these things, what is the easiest way that you can pivot to start collecting money? And you talked about
Hmm.
free options. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to make money.
Yeah.
And as you are growing your business and freelancing, you can start adding more to it, but you don't need a
Hmm.
lot of money to just start it, right?
You
So
don't.
you're dropping so many gems. So can you share with the audience how were you able to pivot? Like, what were the first things you did to
Yeah.
start your freelance business and to start it, have it grow?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I did was attend Exodus Summit 2022,
Mhm,
Move Abroad Money. That was
mhm,
kind of it lit a fire in me, right? I was
yeah,
able to see like all the online business options that existed. And then with that, I was introduced to Digital Nomad Kit through Libria Jones, who spoke at Exodus Summit 2022. And
mhm,
I'll be leading a free session in her community coming up on June 28th.
yes,
But yeah, going through Digital Nomad Kit's 5-day VA program, it's a free week-long program. That really helped me so much being in a toxic job because I had to confront the fact that I had skills, right? It literally walks you through like make a list of your skills in
mhm,
community that is very supportive,
mhm,
walking you through that. I ended up signing up for the full training program through Digital Nomad Kit. And that's
mhm,
where I had the tools to really realize that I could launch my own business, Free Black Woman Virtual Solutions. And so after I did that skills inventory, I decided which clients I wanted to work with, Black women digital entrepreneurs, in the course of that 5-day VA training program. And then I was able to decide that I wanted to do kind of digital marketing, business aspects, kind of things that I did in the toxic job that I was in, right, in economic
mhm,
development, just
mhm,
taking that skill set, transitioning it to a freelance business,
mhm.
and working with the clients that I wanted to work with. But I think being in Digital Nomad Kids free training program really helped me realize again that I had skills,
Mhm.
and being in that supportive community really helped me be able to launch my freelance
Yeah,
business as well. So I would
yeah,
encourage you to sign up for the free challenge. Yeah.
yes. So let's talk a little bit more about ways that you and Libria are supporting Black women in becoming freelancers as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will be hosting a session inside the Quit Commuting Academy, which is led by Libria Jones, called How to Identify Your Existing Skill Set to Start a Business. And this is coming up on Friday, June 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I'll be walking people through how to identify your skill set, because that's
Mm,
kind of the first step to starting your business, right? Realizing
mhm,
that you have skills,
mhm,
leaning into that fact, owning it, and then
mhm.
determining which skills can be used to start a business, right? You want to make sure that you like what you're doing to start a business because you want it to be sustainable. You want to make sure that it's something that people will pay you to do. So a lot of the
Very
times we feel
important.
like we have to do something brand new that no one has done
Mhm,
before. It's actually
mhm.
helpful to observe what other people are doing and see what's been successful and then use that as inspiration to start freelancing, right? Taking
Yeah,
those tips from other people. It doesn't have to be something brand new. So yeah,
yeah.
that's coming up on June 28th.
Okay. And how do people register for this?
The link should be in the description section. And I do have it. I posted on my community tab on my YouTube channel as well. Want to register that way. But yeah.
Okay. And did you have something else coming up too, Marissa? So it was the event with Libria.
Hmm. Hmm.
And was there another challenge coming up?
That might have been the 5-day VA challenge
Okay.
through Digital Nomad Kit, which I'm an affiliate now. I completed the program. Let's see, what that was February of last year. And then I launched my business March on International Women's Day. And
Oh,
so now I'm an affiliate helping other people like take the free challenge. And then if it feels right, if you do want to go forward with like the freelance business, creating your own, the program is amazing. And it comes with like, lifetime membership to the community. And I feel like
mm,
community is pivotal. That actually
mhm,
inspired me to start my own community for Black women entrepreneurs specifically, just to have that sense of support
mhm.
um, as you're building your business, because it can get lonely and isolating being
It
an
really
entrepreneur.
can. Yes.
Yeah.
So how would they sign up for that? And then how would
Mhm.
talk a little bit more about the community and how they could sign up for your community.
Yeah, so you can, I think the link to the 5-day VA challenge through Digital Nomad Kit should be in the description section. It's also on my YouTube channel as well. And I can provide you with the link. I think I may have, maybe I didn't, to Free Black Women Entrepreneurs, which is my separate online community specifically for Black women entrepreneurs. Led by me and assisted by Quinn Edwards, who I also met in Digital Nomad Kit. She's a fellow Black woman VA who is leaving her teaching job and going full time into freelance work. I'll be actually hosting a panel with her on it tomorrow on my
Mm.
channel. So we'll be talking more about digital entrepreneurship for Black women.
Ooh. Okay, tell us more about the panel tomorrow.
Yeah, so the panel is so members of my Free Black Women Entrepreneurs community tomorrow at
Mhm.
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, just on like digital entrepreneurship topics. Mimi, a Voyager, SR Hasib, who recently released a waiting list for her book. She actually writes erotic short stories as an
Ooh,
online income source. So she's going to be talking about that. And then Quinn Edwards, who is a fellow virtual assistant, and yeah, she's leaving teaching and starting her freelance business full time. So I'm very excited
excellent.
to be
Excellent.
speaking with them.
So
Yeah.
it's good for Black women to not only hear, but to see by example, which is so important, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and tell us a little bit more about virtual your business. So you talked about your community. So talk a little bit more about your business as well.
Yeah. So Free Black Woman Virtual Solutions is my business. Currently doing virtual assistant work, but actually pivoting to coaching. So business coaching, I just set up my Calendly link, calendly.com/mpricemsw. If you do need coaching on starting your business, automating your business, right, using tools like Zapier, which I'm very familiar with, especially leading the summit, right?
Hmm.
Zapier was a tool that I connected so that everything was happening behind the scenes and you can kind of be hands off, which I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of us are looking for in online business to operate it with ease.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm offering coaching on automating, growing your business, starting your business that you can sign up calendly.com/mpricemsw. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I'm excited to hear about so many different ways that you and I are supporting Black women
Yeah.
in pivoting from a toxic job. Because if we think
Yes.
about being in a toxic job and it affects your self esteem, your self worth, all of that. But the fear, right? The fear of being able to leave, but we're showing Black women about different options. So being a
Mhm.
freelancer is one of those things. So you and I are both now entrepreneurs. And you talked about this too, Marissa, about, being an entrepreneur, there's the other element. One, you have a lot of freedom, right?
Mhm.
But there's also
Yeah.
the part about self-promotion. So
Ooh.
we've talked about this too, Marissa. So what would you say to Black women watching this right now about self-promoting?
Ooh, it's difficult. It's difficult. I think it's just helpful to be honest about that, right? It's
Yeah.
very difficult for a lot of us. We have been socialized to shrink and
Mm-hmm.
view any type of promotion as being like full of ourselves or
Mm-hmm.
conceited. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to, right? In entrepreneurship, no one is going to know what you're doing if you don't tell them, right? You
Exactly.
have to tell them. That's one of the things I learned in Digital Nomad Kit, the signpost method, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just simply telling people, putting a post out there, which is what I did to launch my business and how I got my first client,
Mm-hmm.
telling people that I was launching my virtual assistant business and I was working with Black women digital entrepreneurs. Like it can be that easy, but
Yeah.
getting to that point is so difficult, especially if you survived a toxic job where you
Yeah.
had to shrink to be
Yes.
safe, right?
Yes.
And now you have to do the opposite to launch your business. So that
Exactly.
transition is very difficult, which is where community comes into
Mhm.
play, right?
Mhm.
Just having other
Mhm.
people that are going through it with you so that you
Mhm.
don't feel so isolated and alone is pivotal. It's pivotal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Overcoming
and
that.
working in collaboration with other Black women too, in terms of
Yeah.
elevating and telling about your work, and it's true because I know that I struggle with that a lot. Like, I didn't wanna come off as, I'm trying to sell you something all the time, and that's what I talk about on
Right.
YouTube, like, this is free for everybody, like, anybody who wants to watch this can watch this, but I do have offers as well, and I had to get over this hurdle that I'm thinking that I'm trying to sell, people are thinking, oh, she's trying to sell me something. But I had a coach tell me, Black women coaches, tell me, if you don't put the offer out there and you don't tell people what you're offering and how you can help them, you're actually hurting people, right? So people
Mm-hmm.
that you can help, they're not going to have the access to help because you're not saying
Right.
anything, right? So I had
Mm-hmm.
to change
It's
my
true.
mind frame that, because I don't like people selling me all the time. I can't stand that. Like, I can see them a mile away, like, oh God, they're gonna try to sell me something, right? So for me, I have to just say to myself, and I'm just saying this to the audience too, that as a freelancer, you do have to self-promote. It's not,
Yeah.
it's no way around it. You have to self-promote, but tell yourself that what you're offering is a benefit to the clients that you want to work with. It's not that, you're trying to get over, because you're not. You know who you are. You know you're trying to get over anybody. And when you're
Mm-hmm.
sincere about ways that you can help them solve a problem, then they want to seek you out. They know that you can help them, right? So,
Yeah.
Marissa, are there any other aspects in relation to being a freelancer that you feel like we didn't cover yet?
Self promotion is a huge one. Owning your skill set. Let's see. Going through all the jobs and things that you've held in the past, right?
Mm,
Because a lot of us will overlook that. Because I've been a teacher, I've been a social worker, still am, right? But like a more traditional social worker in
mhm.
nonprofits, a financial analyst. So I had to go back through all of my previous jobs that I've had and realize that I have so many routes that I can take.
Yes, yes.
So it can really be that easy. But again, getting to that point of even
Mhm,
acknowledging your skill set can be so difficult for toxic
mm,
job survivors. So a
mhm,
lot of it is mental. A lot of
mhm.
it is mental, and that's where therapy can really be of assistance.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
wanna put an exclamation point about that. Therapy is so important, right? And what you just talked about, all those different jobs you've had, all those skills are transferable. So even if you
Yeah.
leave a job, the skills don't stop there, right? So we have to just kind of get
Hmm.
out of that mindset that this is the only place where you're going to be able to do that certain thing or make money. That's not true. And so being in community up with other Black women, it might be your YouTube channel, it might be my YouTube channel. That might be a way for Black women to be in community to see that this is possible. Being a freelancer is possible, even though they may
Hmm.
never know, nobody in their family has been a freelancer or anything like that, to know it's possible. So I'm gonna throw out a
Yeah.
question that is a little different.
Okay.
Um, in becoming a freelancer, well, actually, I have two.
Hmm.
Okay, so in becoming a freelancer, do you have any regrets about becoming a freelancer?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I would have, if I had to do it again, I would have negotiated severance agreement from the job that I was in because I had no idea that I could do that to
Mm-hmm.
be like the funding, right? The
Mm-hmm.
funding source for my business. Because
Yes.
I was just like in hustle mode. I was in
Mm-hmm.
hustle mode while I was still trying to heal.
Mm,
And I wouldn't recommend that, right? So if there
yeah.
is a way that you can build up like a stack to fund your
Mm-hmm.
business before you
Mm-hmm.
actually exit, I
Mm-hmm.
would recommend that
Yeah.
because trying to heal and grow a business at the same time is a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
It
Um,
is.
so yeah, learning about severance agreements through Jackie Abram, I was like, what? I could do that, right? And that
Yes.
would have made things so much easier. So that's one of the biggest
Yes.
regrets that I have.
Yes,
Yeah.
and shameless plug, also, that's something we talked about in the Job Liberation Virtual Summit, so get the
Yeah.
replay because Anne-Marie Archer, the
Marie
anti-HR
Archer.
HR lady,
Yeah.
also talked about that, so that's
Yeah.
one regret. What about as you're on this freelance journey, um, were there any naysayers around you, right? So people projecting fears onto you, and how did you deal with that? Because A
Mm,
lot of us have people around us who may mean well, but they're so wrapped up in their own way of being and seeing things and their own fears that they might project that onto you. Did that happen
mm.
to you in your journey of becoming a freelancer, and how did you deal with that?
It didn't. It didn't. I'm thankful. I think by the point that I had gotten to at the job I was in, my
Mhm.
family was very supportive in me leaving. So whatever that
Good.
meant, right, whatever route that I had to take, it's like they were supportive in that.
Mhm.
And I think being in a toxic job, it kind of makes you like have that faith, right?
Mhm.
This can't be it. So something else has to be better. A lot of us will enter into entrepreneurship out of
Mhm.
toxic jobs because of what we've experienced,
True.
and we just want to take our power back,
Yes.
right? And own our skill sets and not have anybody be intimidated by what we're doing and
Yeah.
shining so brightly. That's
Yes.
our path into entrepreneurship as Black women a lot. And that's
Mhm.
something I actually studied, interestingly enough, as a graduate student, right?
What?
Researching Black women entrepreneurs. Yeah.
And then you become one.
Yes. Yeah. So that knowledge and
Wow.
information
That's full
about
circle.
our pathway, yeah. And it's so different from a lot of people, right? Because we're often
Yeah.
kind of like forced into entrepreneurship in a certain way, even
Mhm.
if it might be our dream.
Yeah.
But to be able to expand and take up
Yeah.
space, because a lot of us can't do that in these institutions and organizations
Yeah.
without facing the wrath of people who are
Yes.
intimidated by this.
Exactly. You bring up a really good point. Um, is that when I reflect on my journey, I didn't envision becoming an entrepreneur. Like,
Yeah.
I am a very structured person. I like predictability. I always envisioned myself being in some job that I liked, right? And
Hmm.
just staying there. I never envisioned becoming an entrepreneur. However, like you said, a lot of us are forced into it because
Yeah.
of a toxic job situation. And it's so fascinating because I think of myself and my own personality traits, like stability. I like this, I like that. But the
Right.
disrespect, the demeaning, the trauma was too much that I had to say, well, this is not going to work. Like, I know I can't stay here. But
Yeah.
once I started leaving and looking at creating those multiple streams of income, which again, we talked about in the summit. So once I
Hmm.
started doing that, I was like, why would I want to go back to any situation where people might try to mistreat me or have that level of control over me? So that
Yeah.
was a major mindset shift, right? And so I have to build in some version of stability as an entrepreneur, right? So having the
Right.
multiple streams of income helps me. And so I just want to say to Black women, as you think about being a freelancer, Marissa already talked about it. I've talked about creating multiple streams of income as a freelancer too, right? So you have that greater
Right.
sense of flexibility. And I also want to just share with the audience too that, you know, on your journey, Marissa, you were blessed, with having people around you who were supportive
Hmm.
of you in that journey.
Yeah.
My immediate family per se was supportive. My mother was not. My mother could not
Mhm.
understand. It was inconceivable to her about why I would leave this good government job and with these good benefits and why I would do
Right.
that. Like it just she could not understand it because she had a good government job. She retired, so she wanted the same thing of me. And it's interesting. I haven't talked about this often because it's been very difficult for me, but
Yeah.
for a while, my mom and I would even talk about it. We wouldn't even talk about
Mm.
it. And and I resigned 2 years ago. It was only recently that she said, she asked me how my business was going. I said it was going very well. And this is the first time ever. And many of you who are watching this might have mothers like this where they don't want to admit like when they're wrong, right? But she was like, you know what? I was angry with you when you resigned from that job
Hmm.
because I felt I was scared that the financial security wasn't going to be there, right? So she told me,
Yeah.
she admitted to, I knew it, right? But to hear her admit to it, that she was angry because she was scared. But she also said something, and we're going to talk about this in my live on Sunday. This mentality that she was projecting onto me about don't let them run you out of here, right? Don't let them run out.
Mm.
Don't let them
Yeah.
run you out of this good job. Okay.
Mhm.
So, audience, we're going to talk about that on Sunday with Kat about the dangers, what are the costs involved when we start saying to ourselves, they're not going to run me out of this job. Okay. So there might be a range of different experiences that you might have as you are becoming a freelancer. The hope is that you're able
Right.
to see there was a continuum. Marissa had support, right? My mother
Mhm.
was not on board with that at all, but I stayed focused. I knew what was best for me, and you need to do the same thing, right? So as you're watching this,
Mhm.
you might be like, oh, I can't stand this place. You may not even envision yourself as an entrepreneur. I did not. I did not. Okay.
Mhm.
I don't think Marissa initially did, right? But
No.
sometimes you're pushed into a situation and you have to say, okay, this is what's available to me now. And you might be a freelancer for a certain period of time and then pivot to another job. But what we're saying is that you have options. We want you to know you have options. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to read the community before we wind down.
Yeah.
I finally found my freelance niche. Good. Work in process,
Oh,
use
yeah,
my
Mara.
customer service skills. You go. Okay. High five to you, girl.
Yes.
Good evening. Reclaiming our power is our first step.
Yeah.
So true. Take our power back. So I did a video recently about You Won't Break My Soul. That's part of taking our power back. It's recognizing how the job is impacting us and saying, wait a minute, no more. I deserve something better than this. And pivoting and freelancing might be one way that we pivot. They're
Yeah.
saying hello to each other in the chat. Freelancing has always seemed difficult and scary to me, but I'm ready to leave my job and want to work remotely. I'm tired of working for other people. Yes, yes, and yes. Okay. So freelancing is an option. We also talked about tell them again about the event that's coming up, Marissa, the date again.
Yeah. How to identify your existing skill set to start a
Hmm.
business coming up on Friday, June 28th
Hmm.
at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And the link to register should be in the description section, but this will be held inside Libria Jones Quick Commuting Academy. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And then we also talked about remote work at the summit as well, if you haven't already gotten your replay. Let's see. The majority of my work experience has been in food service and retail. However, I now have 2 years of administrative work under my belt. So I think something could be there. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
People need a lot of administrative work. Yes. Please explore
Yeah.
that. I attended the
Yeah.
Job Liberation Summit and bought the replay access ticket. So I need to watch the replays too. Yes, please. Right. So now that
Mm-hmm.
you have them, take your time, take notes, and
Right.
follow through. Right. I've been
Yeah.
researching starting a freelance business, providing email and chat support using CRM software, and maybe providing project management services also. Having so much experience
Yes.
in customer service. That is excellent. That
It
is excellent.
is.
People need project
Yeah,
management. I want to support
they
you in
do.
that. Okay. Hey, hey, hi, everyone. I don't know, y'all met in Digital Nomad Kit. That's so
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Okay, mediocre palm people are so good at promotion. We deserve to be better at it. Yes. And that's just something that I think it's I don't know. It might come from like post-traumatic slave syndrome that as Black
Oh,
people,
yeah.
we've been
Absolutely.
told to like, kind of, you got to watch the environment. You don't want people to get
Mhm.
intimidated, to get fearful. But yeah,
Yeah.
so recognizes that self-promotion is for you to help other people. It's not just for you to be boastful and conceited and
Mhm.
all that. So we need to challenge that. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Colette Elizabeth. How you doing? Good to see you here. We're the fastest growing group, right?
We
So
are.
we are the most educated in the nation as Black women, and we're the fastest
Mhm.
growing group of entrepreneurs. Yes.
We
Working
are.
7+ hours, no breaks on your feet for $13 an hour is not worth it. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. Oh, look at this. I just signed up for the 5-day VA challenge and the ID skill
Yeah.
set class.
I
Yes,
love it.
everybody, please register. Please register. Okay. Um, okay. I'm just gonna read the acronym. IQEAF, if you can imagine what that is. If they run me out of a job, I'm going where I'm protected. Good, good, good. I work freelance as a product manager, analyst, product manager. Coming from a software developer background, it was time to leave that field and my company. I'm out. I'm sleeping now. Good. I hope you're getting some rest. right? Get that
Yeah.
toxicity out your system. Oh, look at
Mhm.
this. I quit my job last week. Thank the Lord, I'm free. Girl, girl, girl. Yes, celebrate your
Yes.
liberation with you, okay? I know that's right. Congratulations. Okay, so they're excited for you, girl. They're excited for you. So, our hope is as you're watching this video that again you are looking at two black women who are doing our thing, freelancing, right? Didn't
Mhm.
really think that that will be our path, but we're sharing with you about how to do this, okay? So there's
Yeah.
many resources available to you. Marissa has talked about what she has to offer. I've talked about what Marissa and I have to offer. So my hope is that you follow up on these things. And Marissa, tell everybody about your YouTube channel. Awesome.
Oh yeah, my YouTube channel M Price MSW, mostly focused on freedom, right? So freedom
Mhm.
through entrepreneurship, travel, healing, mental health aspects, incorporating my social work background. But yeah, it's focused on Black women to provide us with a safe space to process what we've been through, to heal, to seek ways to freedom.
Mhm.
And I'll be having a panel discussion with some members of my community, Free Black Women Entrepreneurs, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Black Women Digital Entrepreneurs.
Yes. So please watch, subscribe to her channel as well. And I see one last a question came in.
Oh,
Any recommendations for neurodivergent women who are challenged without the built-in structure and accountability that comes from a 9 to 5?
mm. That's a great question. And I'll say Digital Nomad Kit. I know they have a specific focus on people who are neurodivergent too, um, within their community and within like the lessons that they teach, because that's very pivotal, right? The structure, the
Mhm.
9 to 5 structure, and keeping that in mind. So I would encourage you to sign up for the challenge if you're even considering freelancing. But yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay. So, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, register, get your replay of the
Yeah.
Job Liberation Virtual Summit, tell other Black women about it. Check out Marissa's channel, check out my channel more, subscribe to both of our channels, turn the notification bell so you'll be notified when we upload new videos. And again, share this video with other Black women. Okay. So, thank you, everyone, and I will see you later. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you.